Voilà, on s'est posé la question, bien sûr, est-ce que la VR c'est une mode? Est-ce que la VR c'est pas une mode? Est-ce que, voilà, on a déjà beaucoup si pas de réponses, en tout cas de pistes aujourd'hui. Et je voudrais te faire réagir à tout ce qui vient d'être dit, en fait, avant de passer aux questions de la salle.
Well, I don't think it's a fashion at all. As Richard said, it's something that's developing very fast. We're just at early stages, but in 5 and 10 years, I think what the kind of way that we're going to experience VR is going to radically transform. You know, Barbara mentioned augmented reality. I think we're going to have headsets that kind of mix the two things together. They're a lot more seamless. I think at the moment, you know, it's quite a big ask to ask consumers to put on a headset in their daily life, and I think that's something that I always got creators and producers who came for our labs. The first thing we looked at is going right back to your concept development. So it's going back to what you were talking about. How can writers and creators engage with this medium? I think there are the same questions you ask when you approach any concept development that we sometimes forget, and that's what kind of experience do you want to create for your audience? Who are you communicating to? Why? There are all these questions about why that could be asked. And I worked in film for a long while, and I got rather bored of the format because films got very templated over 100 years, and the script is kind of like the format that expresses something that's multimedia and is emotional and is an experience. And I sometimes felt that script wasn't necessarily the right way to describe that experience I was having, and it took you away from the end form. And I think VR, when you are confronted with new technologies for telling stories, it makes you ask really good questions again. What are you doing? Why? What's your goal? And especially when you're in an interactive environment, because there's some kind of reaction, there's some thing that you can activate that's different in a flat world. So I would always go back to those really core ideas for creators. What are you trying to achieve, and what's the experience you want someone to go through in this experience, and how do you want them to come out? So these aren't... And that's why, obviously, we have to have places that people can experience VR and know what the capabilities are of it. So going back to, you were talking about some of the ideas about financing. I'm particularly interested in how you develop and finance ideas together, because a lot of the time things are conceptual. You're on paper, you go to a commissioner or a fund and go, you know, how can I get this made? And it's all kind of like faith in a way. And I think this kind of incubation model that we've seen in technology is really interesting, and in games as well, where and Barbara mentioned all those different people that have to work in this environment. Often we work in industry silos of film and television and games and advertising and publishing. And now we've got so many different disciplines that have to come together. So we're starting to see some incubation spaces develop in different countries. I mean, in the UK, we have we have different spaces, like the National Theatre, for example. They have an incubator. Then there's privately financed spaces now. I'm on the board of a fund that's a BBC Arts Council fund. You know, we're talking about setting up an incubator. The Venice Biennale, for who I'm curating this section, they have a new workshop where they're actually put finance to the projects that they're going to be incubating. So we see a lot more this idea that Catherine mentioned around prototyping ideas fast, and that's what we have to do. We have to work very fast. Where things aren't on paper, you're actually making things, prototyping them, trying with your audience, working with people across different disciplines, and that's what we have to do. We have to start working with psychologists and experience designers and games designers and architects and totally different people to who we're used to working with, which is pretty fun.